If you've listened to my podcast or heard me talk anywhere, really, you've heard me talk about one of my favorite teams this year, the Minnesota Gophers. This team is deep, they're veteran, and primed to make a run. I think this is a team that right now is my favorite in the Big Ten West. And right now, I am really pleased to be joined by their head man. PJ Fleck joins Breaking the Huddle now. Coach, what's going on, man? How are you?
Joel, how are you doing, man? Thanks for having us on the show.
Absolutely. Listen, mean every word I said. I know that you guys didn't have the toughest start to your season from a schedule perspective. Tough for me to say, obviously, because you faced Colorado, and that one still is hurting a little bit. But you went into Michigan State last week and housed them. Coach, I mean, you guys playing as good as anybody out there, running the ball well, veteran team. How happy are you with the way that your team has played so far?
Well, I think your key word is so far. You know, that's college football after week 4, week 5, right? Yeah. We said since January, this has been our most connected football team. They're such a fun team to coach because whatever you put in front of them, they knock down. And a lot of guys that have played a ton of football on this football team have been through an awful lot of adversity, been through a lot of success, been close. We're part of the rebuild. We're part of all of that. So they've seen it at all facets, but they're incredibly connected. They truly love each other. I know it sounds corny when coaches start talking like that, but you really have a special team. How many games we win, I have no idea. But they are so fun to coach because no matter what you put in front of them, they knock down.
You know what's interesting, though, is that connectivity, I think, is more rare now than it used to be. You know, when you and I played college football, even 10 years ago, you know, you could build connectivity almost on an annual basis, you know, through off-season conditioning and so on and so forth. Now, with the transfer portal, it's just more transient. I think it's tougher to have that connectivity, to have that chemistry. You guys seem to have that. How much does it have to do with your veterans? Because you got guys that have been there like, I don't know, is Tanner Morgan in his 10th year of college football right now? Those veterans clearly have to have ownership of that locker room to get that connectivity that you're talking about.
Well, we have multiple guys that are now married. We have multiple guys that are engaged. Exactly. I mean, love is in
on
the
their
air
fourth
in Minnesota.
degree,
it's unbelievable. Right? As part of the recruiting process, you know, if you come here, you get to play some ball and find your wife, get married while you still go to school. I mean, throw that in the NIL deals, right?
There I mean,
here's the biggest thing in my opinion is when you start to look at football in 2022 is the internal message better be way louder than the external message because the external message is only getting louder. The ability for social media and outside messages and outside expectations to become louder is more and better than it's ever been and easy to access, whether that is through the transfer portal and you're getting new players in. To be able to set that standard so high when they walk in here across the board, academically, athletically, socially, spiritually, with a lot of new faces is very difficult to do, meaning the volume of that internal message has to be turned up an awful lot. And as you recruit, not only just to the high school level, but also the portal, you still have to find the right fit, period. Who's going to be able to connect to each other? Who's going to be able to have an open heart to one another? Who's going to be able to really love each other? You're evaluating that constantly. Might be a great player, but still might not be a great fit for the culture. And I think that's being looked at more and more these days.
You know, culture and chemistry. Well, I've been a part of a lot of teams. I mean, you as well, more than I have as a coach and a player. But chemistry is built through wins, to be honest with you. You face adversity, you conquer adversity. That builds chemistry. I just wonder, a game like last week against Michigan State on the road, you know, probably you're thinking to yourself, boy, this is our first real test. Like, you know, how good are we? How far is that going to go, Coach? Because, listen, it wasn't particularly close. You guys beat them up and badly, and they only scored in the last minute. And, you know, you're sitting there. That was as impressive a game as I've seen in a long time. You know, how much confidence do you think you can develop off of that win?
Well, I think that confidence comes from your response mechanisms, whether it's good or bad, to have total consistency. I think that's really difficult to do with young people between 17 and now I have to say like 28, 29 years old. We got a 28-year-old punter. So who is a grown man now, right?
That's right.
But they still are kids.
Yes.
And when you're challenging them to be totally consistent in every facet of their life, that's really difficult to do. So it's not just the really hard times that even bring you closer. It's the good times too, but it's got to be consistent of what the culture demands you to have. And, you know, we define culture as simply connecting people. That's all cultures do. So every head coach in America has got a different culture. It's how you connect everybody through times of adversity, times of success, being able to overcome the challenges that are in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And once you do that, be ready for the other challenges, because it's not if, it's when. They're coming. I mean, it's just like Game of Thrones. Winter is coming. I mean, challenges are coming. And can you overcome those when they happen consistently, day in, day out? And that's why I say I love this team. They've been able to break boring from day one, which is our challenge to them since January. One day to day to day has never been the same. Not one day has ever been the same. And can they do it for each other? And if you can do those two things with total consistency and the response that the culture demands, we got a chance, period. And all you can do is give yourself a chance, because nothing's guaranteed.
Yeah. All right. This will be a short one. You've got one ranked team left on your schedule. Minnesota's biggest challenge to being the Big Ten West champion is?
Staying in the one-game championship season mindset, period. To be 1-0 in this week against Purdue is in our mind, the Big Ten championship. And we have to stay in that type of mindset. And this team has embraced it, done a really good job focusing on it. But again, getting that internal to be way louder than the external with everything else moving around us.
I know I'm not helping, because I'm one of those external voices like, hey, they're going to be 11-1. They're going to be 12-0. Listen, I love watching your team play. I've watched you on tape a couple of times. You guys do it the right way. You're tough. You're physical. You're good at the line of scrimmage. You got veterans in key spots. I've just appreciated the way that you've played football, and I appreciate you joining us today, man. Thanks for your time.
Always a pleasure. Row the boat, Sky Mile. Go Gophers. Thanks, Joel.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here, College Football on Fox.